Hey, it's Bilal, and this is Deep Sea, the podcast about seeing the world more deeply. In the last few podcasts, I've been talking about the COVID coronavirus, and it's hard to escape the news. Every day, we get new announcements of restrictions in our travel, the recommendation to self-isolate, and we hear about the spread of the virus across the world. And something we've done at my firm recently is that we've decided to switch to a remote model, which means that most of us will now be working from home, myself included. As a startup, we're actually really well designed for remote working. We started off in that way, and in fact, most of our team and network across the world don't come into an office anyway. In terms of technology, from the very outset, we've used Slack for team communications, which we find is a better alternative to email. Every day at 9 o'clock, we have a daily call with everyone in the team where we talk about what we did yesterday and what we plan to do today, which is a feature of agile management. We also have a WhatsApp group for our broader network where we discuss 24 hours a day anything that's going on in the world that's relevant for markets. And we also have a weekly conference call at around midday UK time, which allows everyone around the world in our network to call in where we can discuss ideas for the week ahead. Now, I only recently started to work from home, but I must say that there are some disadvantages. One thing that is missing is that the random interactions and quick communication that you can have from the people around you is hard to replicate when you're working from home. What I'm thinking of doing is perhaps having everyone constantly on a video on Zoom or Skype, as if we were sitting next to each other. But I'm still not sure whether that's the best route to take. We used to do that when I used to work on a trading floor with other offices, whether it was in Frankfurt or Tokyo or New York. The other thing is, all of our client meetings have been cancelled or we are cancelling them. I had planned a trip to New York to see clients, to know the researchers. That's all cancelled. And I imagine that will be the case for many, many months ahead. So we're going to be launching a podcast show soon, which will be all related to the research work that we're doing, where we discuss things about markets. So we're basically going to use some of the other mediums to best reach our audience. Now, some of the research I've done and some of the experiences I'm having about working from home makes me think that one of the important challenges is to not blur the lines between work and personal life. It's very important to separate the two. So I have some techniques to make this work. I dress in the same way as if I was going to the office every day. So no PJs or shorts. I have a separate room in the house for work. So I've created a little office for myself. And I start and finish work at the same time as I would have had I gone into the office. On the communication side, I still maintain my structure of checking emails and chat rooms only 3 times a day. But I do need to have more calls with the team now that I'm not meeting everyone in the office. And that's something I need to really work on. One thing I have realized is that in my earlier commute to my office, I was actually doing a lot of physical activity. The walking to the train or the walking up a hill or the jog. And I somehow need to incorporate a walk or something like that into my daily routine when I'm working at home. So that's something else I need to work on. Now, there are some big pluses about working from home. One is that you have a lot more control over what you eat, notably breakfast and lunch. Also, I can see more possibilities of how the business could evolve and where I and others can live in order to make the business work. And the other big advantage is that as a startup, we are naturally very flexible and dynamic in how we work in any case, which hopefully will give us an edge over lumbering big organizations that are either too large or too old to be able to work in a remote way. It could also open up a lot more possibilities for the types of people we can work with once we get used to this working remotely. So people who previously didn't like or want to commute in or who lived outside of the big global centers, if we get this right, then we'll be able to tap into a much larger talent pool of people around the world. But this is just the start of this experiment of working from home. Once things do normalize, we'll see whether we go back to the office setup or not. But this will be a time of great experimentation. And I imagine many of you listeners are also going through something similar. So if you have any tips of how best to work from home, please do let me know. You can send me a message on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or you can email me as well. So thanks for listening. I'll be back soon, so tune in then.